All right, let's go over our first example of domain and range. Let's first talk about our graph. Don't think about the orange, don't think about the chart, just look at our graph. We've been learning that this is called the x-axis, and another name for the x-axis is the what? The domain. Just watch. And the y-axis is the range. Let's use a different color. Now, to connect this to interval notation, we've been learning that on the x-axis, if I go in this direction, there's no numbers. What is that called? Infinity. I'm going to put plus infinity here. And if you're going to the left, where the negative numbers are, over here would be called what? Negative infinity. Okay? Now eliminate the x-axis in your mind. Let's focus on the y now. If you go up, what do you think that is? Positive infinity. And if you're going down, that's going to be negative infinity. Alright. Let's take apart this order pair. I have a quadratic equation. I have a quadratic equation because this is a parabola, it's a U. And here I have the lowest point, which is a minimum. On the x-axis, the coordinate is a 2. And down here is a negative 1. Okay, let's do domain. In the domain, you're going to focus on a direction. I told you guys in your notes, you're going to go from left to right. And this will be best if you have a pencil. Watch as I do the domain. And we're going to do this in, let's do this in interval notation, and then we'll go back to inequalities. So if I start on the left-hand side of the graph, because I'm starting with the left, I'm going to move my pencil across. And as I move my pencil across, I'm going to stop at the first time I touch the graph. I'm stopping the graph up here. When my pencil hits the graph, I touch an arrow. Okay? The arrows always represent positive or negative infinity. Well, I'm coming from the left side, so that's negative infinity. The left side of the graph is negative infinity. And always, always, always with infinity, you're always going to have a parentheses. As I continue on in the graph, going from left to right, the last thing I touch of the graph is another arrow. And this is going in the direction of positive infinity. So the first thing I touch and the last thing I touch is an arrow. This is going to be positive infinity. Now you don't have to write the plus sign for positive. Let's now do let's do inequalities. For an inequalities, I'm basically thinking about where on the x-axis can I touch is my orange graph going. Well, if you think about it, the arrow essentially means I can go anywhere in this direction. And I can also go anywhere in this direction. So I can basically pick any number or all numbers. We call this all. I should do it purple. All real numbers. You can basically pick any number and it will be on this orange graph. The symbol for all real numbers is an R with kind of 2 lines there. Okay? So that is the domain. You're always going from left to right. Let's do the range now. The range, I want you to go in this direction. I want you to start at the bottom and you're going to go to the top. I kind of pick these words, kind of rhymes or goes together. Bottom to top. Watch as I do the range. From bottom to top, I'm going to move my pen from the bottom to the top, and I'm waiting till it touches the graph. I'm not touching anything. I'm not touching anything. Right there. I've just started to touch the graph. Now we're focusing on the range, and the range is the y-axis going up and down. So try to eliminate in your mind the x-axis. Okay? I've just started to touch the y-axis, and I've started at the y value, which is at -1. -1 is the first time of my graph. Now, because you can touch this point, you're including it. So that is a bracket. As I go up from bottom to top, the last thing I touch on the graph on the orange are the arrows, and that is in the direction of the positive infinity. Always with infinity, you can draw parentheses. Bottom to top. Let's do the inequalities now. From the bottom, I'm not touching anything. And the first number I'm touching on the y-axis, not the x-axis, because I'm going from bottom to top, up and down, is -1. And I'm using the y-axis. And you'll notice that as I go on the orange, all the numbers on the y-axis number line, they're going to get bigger. So this would be greater than or equals to. And this is how you find domain and range in inequality and integral notation.